In the year 841 AD, a group of Norse seafarers landed on the eastern coast of an island known as Ériu. These intrepid Vikings were seeking a new home, a place where they could settle and establish a foothold for their trading ambitions. Little did they know that their arrival on these shores would mark the beginning of a profound transformation, one that would shape the destiny of a city that would come to be known as Dublin. The Vikings, led by a commander named Ragnar Lodbrok, were skilled navigators and fierce warriors. They had traveled from their homeland in Scandinavia, braving the treacherous waters of the Irish Sea, drawn by the promise of fertile lands and the opportunity to expand their commercial interests. As they disembarked from their longships, they were greeted by a landscape that was both familiar and foreign. The area they had chosen for their settlement was strategically located at the mouth of the River Liffey, a natural harbor that provided easy access to the sea. The land was well suited for their needs, with lush meadows, dense forests, and a temperate climate. It was a place that offered the resources and the potential for growth that the Vikings sought. Without hesitation, the settlers began to establish their presence, constructing a series of wooden structures and fortifications. They named their new home Dubh Linn, which in their native tongue meant Black Pool, a reference to the dark waters of the Liffey estuary where they had chosen to make their stand. As the years passed, the Viking settlement of Dubh Linn grew in size and significance. The newcomers brought with them their unique customs, language, and way of life, which began to blend with the existing Irish culture. The local population, known as the Gaels, at first viewed the Vikings with a mix of curiosity and trepidation, but over time, a degree of cooperation and exchange emerged. One of the key factors that contributed to the success and expansion of Dubh Linn was the Vikings' expertise in trade and commerce. The settlement's location, nestled between the Irish Sea and the fertile lands of the interior, made it an ideal hub for the exchange of goods. The Vikings established a bustling marketplace, attracting merchants from across the region who came to buy and sell a wide variety of wares, from fine textiles and jewelry to foodstuffs and raw materials. The influx of traders and the accumulation of wealth fueled the growth of the settlement, and soon Dubh Linn became a thriving center of economic and cultural activity. The Vikings constructed impressive stone buildings, including a palace for their ruler, and a network of streets and alleys began to take shape, giving the city a sense of order and permanence. As the settlement grew, it also became a hub of political power. The Vikings, with their superior military prowess, quickly established themselves as the dominant force in the region, forging alliances and engaging in conflicts with the neighboring Irish kingdoms. The ruler of Dubh Linn, known as the King of the Foreigners, wielded significant influence and played a crucial role in the shifting political landscape of medieval Ireland. The presence of the Vikings in Dubh Linn also had a profound impact on the local Irish population. The two cultures, once strangers, began to intermingle with the exchange of ideas, technologies, and social practices. The Vikings adopted certain aspects of Irish customs, while the Irish, in turn, embraced elements of Viking culture. This cultural blending was particularly evident in the religious and spiritual realm. The native Irish followed a pagan faith, centered on the worship of ancient gods and goddesses, while the Vikings brought with them their own Nordic pantheon. Over time, a syncretic religious practice emerged, with elements of both traditions coexisting and even merging in the daily lives of the people. The presence of the Vikings in Dubh Linn also had a significant impact on the city's architectural landscape. The Vikings were known for their skilled craftsmanship, and they brought with them techniques and materials that had previously been unknown to the Irish. The construction of impressive stone buildings, such as the palace and the first Christian church in the city, marked a departure from the traditional wooden structures that had dominated the landscape. As the centuries passed, Dubh Linn continued to grow and evolve, becoming a hub of trade, culture, and political power. The city's strategic location and the wealth generated by its commercial activities attracted the attention of various rulers and powers, who sought to control or influence its affairs. In the 11th century, the city came under the sway of the powerful Irish king, Brian Boru, who sought to consolidate his authority over the region. Brian Boru's reign marked a period of relative stability and prosperity for Dubh Linn, as he sought to maintain the city's commercial and political importance. However, the peace was not to last. In the following century, the city found itself caught up in the turmoil of the Norman conquest of Ireland. The Normans, led by the English king, Henry II, invaded the island and sought to exert their control over the strategic port city of Dubh Linn. The Vikings, who had long since established themselves as the dominant force in the city, were forced to adapt to the new political realities. They formed alliances with the Normans, seeking to maintain their position and protect their commercial interests. Over time, the Viking presence in Dubh Linn gradually waned as the Normans consolidated their hold on the city and the surrounding region. Despite these changes, the legacy of the Vikings in Dubh Linn remained. The city's unique architectural style, the blending of cultures, and the enduring impact of the Viking presence on the local population all contributed to the city's enduring character. Today, the city of Dublin, as it is now known, stands as a testament to the transformative power of the Viking settlement that took root on its shores more than a millennium ago. The city's rich history, its vibrant culture, and its status as a thriving center of commerce and industry all bear the indelible mark of the Vikings, who once called Dubh Linn home. As we look back on this remarkable chapter in Dublin's past, we can't help but marvel at the resilience and adaptability of the human spirit. The Vikings, driven by their thirst for exploration and their pursuit of economic opportunity, found in Dubh Linn a place that would become a crucible for the forging of a new and dynamic society. And in the centuries that followed, the city would continue to evolve, constantly reinventing itself, but always with the echoes of its Viking origins reverberating through its streets and buildings. In the end, the story of the Vikings in Dublin is not just a tale of conquest and settlement, but a testament to the power of human ingenuity, the capacity for cultural exchange, and the enduring legacy of those who had the courage to venture into the unknown and make a lasting mark on the world. The growth and prosperity of Dublin under Viking rule did not come without its challenges, however. As the city's wealth and influence grew, so too did the tensions and rivalries that surrounded it. The Vikings, while skilled traders and warriors, were not immune to the internal conflicts and power struggles that plagued the medieval world. One such conflict that would have a lasting impact on Dublin's history was the ongoing rivalry between the Vikings and the native Irish kingdoms. The Vikings had established a strong foothold in the region, but the Irish rulers were not content to simply cede their territory and influence to the foreign invaders. The struggle for control of Dublin and the surrounding lands was a constant source of tension, with both sides vying for dominance. The Vikings, with their superior naval and military capabilities, were often able to hold their ground, but the Irish were not easily cowed. They launched numerous raids and attacks, seeking to disrupt the Viking hold on the city and its valuable trade routes. This back-and-forth conflict between the Vikings and the Irish would come to a head in the early 10th century, when a powerful Irish king, Mael Sechnel Mac Domhnaill, launched a major offensive against the Vikings in Dublin. The battle that ensued was fierce and bloody, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. In the end, the Irish forces emerged victorious, forcing the Vikings to sue for peace and acknowledge the authority of the Irish king. This marked a significant turning point in the history of Dublin, as the city's Viking rulers were forced to reckon with the growing power and influence of the native Irish kingdoms. Despite this setback, the Vikings continued to maintain a strong presence in Dublin, and the city's commercial and cultural importance continued to grow. The Vikings had established a thriving trade network that extended across the seas, and Dublin became a vital hub for the exchange of goods and ideas. One of the most significant developments during this period was the rise of the Vikings' Christian faith. While the Vikings had initially brought with them their own pagan beliefs, over time, many of them converted to Christianity, often in response to the growing influence of the Catholic Church in the region. This religious transformation had a profound impact on Dublin's cultural landscape. The city witnessed the construction of elaborate churches and cathedrals, and the Vikings began to adopt many of the customs and traditions of their new Christian faith. At the same time, the Vikings' trading and commercial activities continued to flourish, and Dublin became known as a cosmopolitan center where people from all walks of life could be found. The city's streets bustled with merchants, artisans, and scholars, and its reputation as a hub of learning and innovation began to spread. One of the most notable achievements of the Vikings during this period was the establishment of the first university in Dublin, known as the School of Dublin. This institution, founded in the early 11th century, quickly became a center of intellectual and cultural exchange, attracting students and scholars from across Europe. The School of Dublin played a vital role in shaping the cultural and intellectual identity of the city, fostering a rich tradition of scholarship and artistic expression. The Vikings, with their thirst for knowledge and their appreciation for the arts, were instrumental in nurturing this vibrant academic community. As the centuries passed, Dublin continued to evolve, with the Vikings gradually ceding their dominance to the rising power of the Normans and the growing influence of the English crown. Yet the city's Viking heritage remained a fundamental part of its identity, shaping its architecture, its institutions, and the very fabric of its society. Today, as Dublin stands as a thriving metropolis, a global center of commerce, culture, and innovation, the echoes of its Viking past can still be heard. The city's iconic landmarks, such as Christ Church Cathedral and the Chester Beatty Library, bear witness to the enduring legacy of the Vikings who once called this place home. Moreover, the city's rich cultural tapestry, its embrace of diversity, and its reputation as a hub of creativity and intellectual pursuit all owe a debt to the Viking settlers who first set foot on these shores centuries ago. Their impact, both tangible and intangible, has left an indelible mark on the city, a testament to the transformative power of human ingenuity and the ability of cultures to intertwine and shape one another. As we reflect on the story of the Vikings in Dublin, we are reminded of the profound ways in which the past can continue to shape the present and the future. The city's journey, from a humble Viking settlement to a global metropolis, is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the human spirit, and a reminder that the stories we tell about our origins can profoundly influence the paths we choose to walk. In the end, the legacy of the Vikings in Dublin is not just a historical curiosity, but a living, breathing testament to the power of human connection, the capacity for cross-cultural exchange, and the enduring impact that a single group of adventurers can have on the course of a city's history.